I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed, just like the woman on the other mic. I'm talking about the beautiful, and boy, I do really mean beautiful today. She is shiny beautiful for some reason. I'm talking about Miss Gina, Grad. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Seriously. Thank you.
Yeah, Gina, that song was probably recorded and out burning gas before you were born.
I have no idea. I've never heard that song. When I heard the guitar intro, I had a very Dire Straits feel, but I have no idea.
Dire Straits, 1978, 77. You got it, baby. Look at you. Look at you knowing something.
Please tell me you're impressed with that.
I'm very impressed with it. But, you know, it's kind of like not knowing who Stevie Ray Vaughan is, but when you hear the lick, you know it's Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, I had that vibe from the guitar, and then he started singing. I was like, I think I might be right about this. All right. Yeah, I have no clue why you played it. I liked it.
I just felt like it.
Good.
I was just in a Dire Straits mood. And that's one of those bands. You worked on radio where they played classic rock. Dire Straits hardly ever came up on classic rock.
We played maybe 2 songs. Certainly wasn't that one.
Yeah. And you probably, I want my MP.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like that, you know.
Sultans of Swing or whatever.
Sultans of Swing. Yeah. You know, like the easy ones. But, you know, they have so many good songs. And they just never play them.
The shameful thing about being when I was a part of a classic rock station in this modern era is that it doesn't matter if it's current music or classic music. Here's a dirty little secret. It's all programmed by a computer.
Right.
So we didn't choose. I didn't choose. I can tell you that much. So yeah, it's very, very sad.
Who was the DJ? He was on one of the classic rock stations in LA. He came, Jim something. He came on at night. And the song The Last DJ was basically written about him.
Oh.
And he had that voice. He and Dusty Streets were like the last two that were there. And Jim, it was Jim something, right?
Yeah.
Jim Ladd. Was it Jim Ladd?
Jim Ladd.
And he would play some deep Dire Straits cuts and this kind of thing. And it was like, I would listen to him when I would be driving home from my last client at night. I can't remember which rock station he was on in the Southland, but I love Dusty Street. She had that Kim Coleman type voice.
It's the greatest name. I think he was a KLOS guy.
Yeah, he was like, in that song, The Last DJ, is supposedly about him.
Wow.
He was the last guy rolling his own tunes and, you know, doing his own thing. And because I would listen to that same station back when I was training for mountain bike races, those 24-hour races, I would be out on my bike, you know, for 15 or 18 hours on a Saturday. And that was during the days when Walkman made a Walkman that it played radio stations and it was sports Walkman. You could attach it to your bicep.
Right.
Remember that thing?
Yes. Oh my God. But wasn't it only AM or was it FM too?
No, it was AM and FM. And you were able to, I would be in the Santa Monica Mountains. And when you're up on Mulholland, on the dirt Mulholland, you could catch most of the stations most of the day because all of the towers, you can see them all the way over on the Hollywood sign.
That's right.
So you had a straight shot to the tower. So you're catching the music. If I drop down into a canyon to go down like into the Boo, that's Malibu for the rest of the world, then I would lose some of the stations and then I would come out of the Boo and I was able to listen again. And
true. And you just reminded me that Walkman is like Kleenex and Band-Aid. That was the brand name. We say, oh, you got a Walkman. What kind of Walkman? That was the brand.
Yeah, it was the only thing. And you know, you knew this was a sports model because it came in yellow.
Oh,
right? That connoted that you now had a sports model of the Walkman, and it went around your bicep. And they on the weekend they would do. We're going to do only rock songs from the 80s, right? And I would be listening for 15 hours. And I would get so angry because they were playing all of the biggest stars from the 80s. And I'll go, you know what? This is bullshit because they haven't played Stevie Ray Vaughan yet.
Right.
How can you say you're playing the best rock of the 80s, A to Z? Remember, they would do A to Z.
Oh, of course.
A to Z weekends. And I was like, where's Stevie Ray? You went right past the S's and the R's.
I was going to say, you have an S, an R, and a V.
Yeah. You got 3 chances to play this guy. And you're not playing. Thank you, Gina. Thank you.
Yeah. And what year was this?
Early 90s. Like 92, 3,
I was trying to think if
years.
their version at the time was all hair metal.
Yeah, some of it was, and you would get, they would play 70s and 80s, because there wasn't enough good rock in the 80s. It was mostly rock
stars. Fill an alphabet.
Yeah, exactly. So you would hear, when you got to the L's, of course, it was all Leonard Skinner or whatever. Yeah. Anyway.
Wow.
It would piss me off so much. It's like, okay, you're saying you're playing hits of the 80s. Where's Stevie Ray Vaughan? The guy ruled the 80s.
Fair question.
And the only time you would hear Stevie Ray in any song was in the song Let's Dance.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
There's a lick, like 2 or 3 licks in Let's Dance right towards the end.
Really? Was it sampled or was he playing on it?
He had played the Montrose Jazz Fest, and David Bowie saw him up on stage. He was unknown when he went to the Montrose Jazz Fest. David Bowie saw him on stage. He literally, that's all anyone talked about. It's kind of like that female comedian that just did the Brady roast.
Nikki Glaser.
Nikki Glaser. No one's talking about anyone else's performance except Nikki Glaser because okay, that was Stevie Ray Vaughan at Montrose Jazz Fest. And David Bowie famously walked up and said, I want you to come on tour with me. And Stevie Ray Vaughan said, with all due respect, I'm trying to get my own career going and the whole thing. And he goes, would you at least come in the studio? I'm putting together a song, this kind of disco-y song, and I'd like to get you on the song. And that's Stevie Ray in the studio right after Montrose Jazz Fest. And don't ask me how I know this.
I wouldn't even dare. Yeah. I would just have to say that I can't believe they had pants that fit Stevie Ray Vaughan after the giant balls of saying, sorry, David Bowie, I'm not going on tour with you.
Yeah. Because he had bigger fish to fry.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what I'm always telling people. Follow your heart, follow your dreams. I just got off the phone with the guy. Let's call him, I'll just say his last name because he's related to this other Albano. His name is Albano. I won't say his first name. Usually I'll give the first name. Do you know the great Lou Albano?
You mean Lou Albano from WWF back in the day?
Yeah.
Captain Lou?
Captain Lou.
Wait. This person you talk to is related to Captain Lou Albano?
May or may not be. I'm not going to give away too much. That's right. We've spoken several times. I've spoken to some of his kids.
Oh my God.
I've actually spoken to some of this guy's kids. And he talks about how disciplined his kids are and doing NSNG and the whole thing. And I've spoken to this Albano, I don't know, 3 times I want to say, but I've spoken to 1 or 2 of his kids. So I can't remember how many times.
Captain Lou was a substantial man.
Oh yeah. Captain Lou had a gun. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you remember this, but he managed, what's her name, the singer?
Cyndi Lauper?
Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, you see, about Captain Lou also. Well,
I'm a child of I was very young, but I always liked stuff that was a little older than me. And my brother was super into WWF at the time. It wasn't WWE. So, and we were raised on MTV. That was our babysitter. So I got some old school knowledge.
Yeah, well, so you know who Captain Lou? He had the rubber bands around his.
The rubber bands on his goatee.
Yeah. So anyway, I was talking to a less colorful Albano.
The lesser Albano.
Yeah, and he was telling me, I've taken him. He's a little younger than me, maybe 58, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm gone down. I'm down to a 32 waist. He started at like a 40 waist.
Wow.
And he says, when I got married, I was at a 30. And I said, you know what your problem is? You know why you can't get to that extra? And he goes, no, I can't figure it. I said, because you're thin enough. You keep
Mm,
telling yourself. He goes, yeah, you're right. I said, you have a little ice cream here, you do a little over here with the fruit and this and that and the whole thing. Because in your mind, you're going, what other 50-year-old looks like this?
right.
Because he started saying to me, I'll never look like you. And it's like, and I said to him, not with that attitude, you're not. Not with that attitude. You need to change your attitude.
Well, excuse me, but in his defense, we all saw the, Baywatch photo that was just posted of you, topless, I might add, in a swimming
Right.
pool.
Now, listen, I'm not Gina Grad topless because that's a sight to behold.
But this was, damn impressive. So impressive that you, the most, dare I say modest, guy I know, allowed that picture to be put, in the public
Well,
forum.
Serena, as you know, as you could tell, that wasn't a posed photo. Serena
Oh,
catches
no.
me sometimes when,
I have to look over
when
it.
I'm not looking.
Yep.
And now if I knew the picture was being taken, I would have flexed a little bit. If you notice, like my boobies are a little soft, and I would have pumped them. I would have brought them up a little bit.
You would have done a couple of push-ups first?
Yeah, you
A
could
little more
tell like my
vascular?
lats and everything are like
Yeah.
my traps are kind of relaxed. I would have pulled it forward a little bit with the with the traps.
But all of that said, which that's funny, that's how you absolutely can tell this isn't posed, but you still, even with the shading from the water and all your other mishigas you're talking about, you
Right.
still have you still have washboard abs.
Yeah, because I don't have any fat over my abs. I spend my whole life trying to listen. It all started. I've told this story before, Gina, because we got a lot to talk about today. This all started at, you want to talk about music, at the New Orleans Jazz Fest. Let's call it circa 1987.
Let's call it that.
And I was with one Miss Renee, um, Kutcher. I'll say
Mhm.
her name. Love Renee Kutcher. Her family, her husband's family owned Kutchers up in, one of those Catskill,
Oh, wow.
of the Catskill Kutchers, right?
Excuse me.
And before that, she was a Rosenblum. She was married to the guy that owned the Rams before
Oh,
that.
wow. Well, when you said Catskills, I was like, "Oh, the Borscht Belt." So
Yeah.
she's one of my people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She married one of your people.
She married into the people.
Maybe Renee. I think Renee was Jewish before that. The
Yeah. Okay.
Rosenblums. Yeah, she was. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Renee and I were very close, and I was at Jazz Fest with her and her husband. And as you know, Jazz Fest is really hot. It's New Orleans. No one's got a shirt on,
Oh, of course.
right? So I'm walking around without a shirt on, and two very good looking. Do we say black or African American? What are we saying nowadays?
I think, well, depending on how PC you wanna be, perhaps person of color?
I'm not trying to be PC. Black women.
Sure.
I grew up with nothing but black people. So they call us whitey and we call them black, and that's just the way it goes. So, and they did the black woman thing to me, which I love. Now, the best compliment you can ever get is from a black woman.
Can't wait to hear where this is going.
And one of them said, came right in my face. Right there. That's the biggest compliment.
Oh, that's it.
And she said to me, she goes, if more white men look like you, I'd switch teams. And I gave her the biggest hug I've ever given anyone in my life. And
Oh,
when we
man.
walked away, Renee and Bob was with me, and Renee said, enjoy this while you can.
Mm.
I said, how do you mean? She goes, because you got to remember, in 1987, I was still in my 20s.
Oh, boy.
This is pre-conch shell photo. I,
Oh,
I was 30 when the conch shell photo happened.
you
So
you hadn't even hit peak conch shell yet.
No, I was better than conch shell.
Oh my
I had more going on back then. Yeah, I looked like Rambo from First Blood Part 3, the best of all the Rambos.
Sure.
Right. So,
I'll trust
yeah, I had that going on.
you. Wow.
And Renee goes, enjoy this while you can. And I said, how do you mean? She goes, because no matter how hard you try, by the time you hit your 30s, you're going to get the middle age spread. And I said, ain't going to happen to me, Renee. She goes, let me tell you something. I was married to the owner of the Rams. And even these these defensive backs who are built like, they look like lizards. These guys are, she goes, when they retire and they hit their 30s and they come back, they all got the love handles and they get a little jowly and the whole thing. And I said, Renee, it's not going to happen to me. And she goes, it happens to everyone. And I said, it's not going to happen to me because I'm not going to let it happen. And that one day, that one time in the spring of 1987, defined the rest of my life.
Oh my God.
That's right. That's right. So
That's
thank you,
incredible.
Renee Kutcher. She's out there. I know we still stay in contact by phone and that kind of thing. Thank you, Renee,
Well,
for giving me a lifetime of saying, you know what?
not me.
I'm going to take this one compliment from one woman,
One random stranger.
a random stranger who walked up to me at Jazz Fest and said 3 words. Mm, mm, mm. That's all she had to say. She didn't even have to say the second part. Because I spoke clear jive. I knew exactly what she was saying.
Okay, Barbara Billingsley from Airplane.
I speak broken jive. Yeah, it's
Excuse me, I speak a little jive.
yeah.
Oh my god. And now if that hadn't have happened, I still think you'd be on the same track, but do you think it would have been in the forefront of your mind, or did you need to hear that from Renee?
I look, I've always been interested in how do you get, because I was a big Jack LaLanne fan and Jack kept
Right.
it together until the day he died. Right. So what I followed along, yeah, yeah. I don't think that was but that was a defining
But it
moment
was
when I drew a
crystallized.
line in the sand and said, you
That's
know
right.
what? If this is how, if you really genetically, I won't be able to take this because I looked at all my family is not genetic freaks, by the way.
Right, right.
I mean, if you saw my family, as all my friends used to jokingly call me, I'm Marilyn in the Munsters.
Oh my god.
As a matter of fact, I'm looking at a photo.
Oh god.
Gina, can I go grab a photo and
I
hold it
wish
up to
you
the camera?
would.
All right, hang on. Let me go grab
For
it.
anyone who's under a certain age and doesn't get the Maryland reference, which I'm sure you all do, Google it. Basically, in the Munsters, they're all, monsters. And they're, vampires and they're, whatever. And Marilyn, the gorgeous, blonde, perfect girl next door, was considered the freak because, she didn't look like the Munsters. But by all means, Google image that and you'll have a nice little laugh at what Vinnie just said.
Yeah, they all felt bad for Marilyn because
Yeah.
they said she'll never get a date. Yeah. Well, this picture is from around that time.
Okay.
Okay. It's me and my brothers and my mom and dad. Now, my mom is
Oh my
probably.
goodness.
By the way, folks, you might want to go see the video of this over at YouTube because this is Marie when she was. This is when she was leaving teaching at the ripe old age of 60. She was retiring,
Okay.
and my mom was in the 200 somewhere in her weight.
Okay.
And now she weighs, I got her down to 125 and she's 84 years old. So
Incredible.
let me see if you can see this photo. Um,
Wow.
so that's me and all my
Wow.
brothers. That's my brother, Mike, with the mustache, the porn stash. That's my youngest brother, Mark, next to him. He now goes in the 340 category. He was probably 275 right there. That's my mom and then me in the back there.
Yep.
Right around the time that was right around the time Renee was telling me I won't keep that going, and then
Yep.
my dad, and then my other younger brother on the end in the white shirt. If you
Wow.
can see that, right?
Wow.
No, they're all heavy. All of my brothers, even the guy with the porn stash, is now heavy. But yeah, that's my family.
Well, let's talk about this for a second. There's something else we want to get to real quick, but just in your opinion, because I think a lot of people are sort of fascinated by the nature versus nurture. Do you, in your heart, even though we might never know, do you believe that out of your entire family, you were handed a sort of genetic leg up,
No,
or you would have been exactly the same?
exactly the same, because my youngest brother, Mark, who, as you can see, is already gaining weight. When Mark played high school football, he got more scholarship offers than I ever did. He was a
Wow.
better athlete than me. He literally looked like this. He never walked into the gym very often. Like he was good at, he was strong and lifted weights, but he didn't hit the gym the way I did. And he was built like the statue of David.
Wow.
Like it looked like, it was like, oh wait, this is the statue of David in flesh and bones.
Wow.
And he just started eating crap and continues to eat crap. Love him to death. When I go down there, it's his house that I go to. Um,
So okay, interesting. So you're saying that if you guys stayed on the same track, you'd be in the same place, but this is all decision making and not genetic lottery hitting.
I'm 60. Mark is maybe 52, and yeah, he is in the three. Oh, by the way, he's down right now. He's like 295,
Mm.
but give or take, he'll be back to 350. He goes back between 290 and 350,
Wow.
back and forth. I've been trying to help, and he just doesn't have the discipline to stick with it, because he lives in the heart of Cajun country, and the boy likes to eat his catfish. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, one more question. One
Oh,
more question.
sure.
Do you think if you never left that, not just you moved to Baton Rouge or New Orleans, if you never left your hometown, do you think you would be in the physical shape you're in?
I don't know. It would have been much more difficult,
Yeah.
because it's just so depressing down there. I
Oh,
grew up on the bayou. There's nothing there. You have to want to love to live there, and very few people. I moved to New Orleans for college. I saw a different life. Um, I credit that with a lot of, you
interesting.
know,
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I
Fair.
learned delayed gratification very
Yeah.
early, and all that really matters.
Because when you're in a place with not a lot to do, you start looking for sedatives. And in some parts of the country, you see all these documentaries on, parts of Ohio or parts of Appalachia, and the sedatives are literally sedatives. They're OxyContin. There's things. Sometimes the
Yeah.
sedative is food, and this makes sense. So I appreciate that answer.
And look, I mean, I ran the small gym. I started that gym, Joe's
Right.
Gym, with Joe Bonadonna as a kid. Would I've gone back there and kept the gym going? Probably, but and Joe kept it together until he died. So I don't know. I really
Okay.
don't know what the answer is.
Interesting. Yeah.
You
But
that's an
yeah.
interesting question. You know,
Yeah. Well, I know we only have a couple more minutes, but there's something
wait,
that
wait,
yes.
hang on to that, folks. Right now, I
Oh,
mentioned it
yes.
at the top of the show. Right now, you guys have to, if you want to be part of the NSNG VIP group, go to vinnietortorich.com/VIP. It's open right now. We're not
Yes.
just taking names right now. It's open between the 1st of this month, which was a couple of days ago, and the 7th. I'm shutting it down at the 7th. People are really loving this group. It's the accountability group. And this is all part of, I kept saying I'm going to start doing stuff in the group. I started doing exercise routines where people follow along with me in the group. That's all free. If you belong to the group and you pay to be in the group, there is no extra fee to watch me do the exercises and doing
All
them along
included.
with me. It's all inclusive. And I'm going to keep doing more stuff. I'm working on something else to bind the group, more binding. I'm doing stuff
Bonding.
in the group where people are going to feel more and more part of the group. And I go in there and I read every day. People are putting recipes and this and that. It's kind of like the Facebook group on steroids.
Right. The Facebook group with more Vinnie, to be honest.
Yeah, and I'm in there, and we do twice a month. We do a live thing on StreamYard, and people join in, and you can come up and ask questions. So, if you can't afford a consult, you get a consult. All you have to do is ask, come in there, and we pull you up, and we ask a question. And it's amazing what we're doing in that group. We just had another group thing right there on the 1st, and around the 15th, we're going to have another one, and so on and so forth. So
it's so perfect.
Yeah.
The other thing it makes me think of is, when you're doing something for the first time, you don't know what you don't know. So in terms of like, no, well, I don't know what question to ask, like, because I've never done this before. This is exactly where you want to be, because you're going to hear other people get their questions answered. You're going to be like, oh my God, I never even thought of that. So for people who are maintaining and for people who are brand new, this is like the best idea.
Yeah. The aforementioned Mr. Albano, even though he's never like come up on stage and been, asked a question to me directly, he says, yeah, I'm in a group. It's fabulous. It helps me stay on track. So everybody loves the group. And
also, when we all do this on our own, it is very easy to drift away.
Right.
You're isolated. You're doing this. You feel like you're alone. And then you start making deals with yourself. Trust me,
Right.
I know what I'm talking about. And then you start justifying things. And you know what? Who's going to know? Because you're alone. When you're not alone, when there's community, life just gets better and better. And this is absolutely true in terms of health.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Gina, that's it, folks. Go sign up for that. Okay. What you got?
Okay, I know we only have a minute or two, but there is this viral thing going on, and for whatever reason,
the Tui girl you're going to talk about?
No, which is funny.
That I don't even know what that is.
I don't either, but it's funny because I was just about to say it definitely tends to appeal more to men for some reason.
Okay, now we're back to Huck Tui girl.
Have you heard of? Specifically, because this euphemism can mean a lot of things, trust me. But when you're on a plane, when you're on an aeroplane, have you ever heard of the term raw dogging your flight?
Gina, I'm glad you brought this up because it just came to my attention today.
Okay.
I already got stuff. Go ahead. Explain what it is. And then I already got comment. I'm loaded. The
first time I noticed this, I immediately thought of you and your little cowboy boots and your belt and your whole outfit to get on a plane. Men primarily are raw dogging it on flights. And what that means is you're giving up your in-flight entertainment. You don't have your earbuds in. You're not watching a movie. You're doing nothing. You're staring at the real-time flight map for the entire duration of the flight. Or if there is no flight map, you're just sort of staring into middle distance. And we always kind of make fun of people who do this, like, oh, are they psychopaths? But this is a thing now. And I was just on a plane with my husband who was in fact following the in-flight map. Vinnie, the floor. Okay,
this is what I call every single flight I took up until 1995.
Oh my God.
Look. All right, so let me tell you what the entertainment used to be on a flight, Gina, before you were flying.
Yeah.
I started flying in 1981 when I got to college. I'd never flown before that. I was on a football team. All of a sudden, I'm in a tube hurling through the air at 500 miles an hour, and I think this is fabulous, right?
Sure.
I can't even believe it. It's like, my God, Orville and Wilbur had no idea we would be doing this, but here we are. And the only thing to do on an airplane back in those days was if you didn't bring a magazine with you, you didn't have anything to look at except an in-flight. They had an in-flight little thing. Like, first off, it's like being in a bathroom back in the day before a cell phone.
Right.
You had to bring reading material in.
Yeah.
If not, you were reading the back of shampoo. Oh, really? This has yellow dye number 5.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. It's got words. You're trying to pronounce all the words on the back of the shampoo bottle.
On the Prel bottle, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you had. It's like, oh man, I forgot reading material. Where's that shampoo? Can I grab it from where I'm sitting right now? That's the way flight was. If you didn't bring a magazine with you, you were effed. You were out of luck, except for you can read You can read the instructions on what to do in case there's a
Right.
water landing or what
Yeah,
have
where
you.
your flotation device is.
And then they started coming out with in-flight magazines, which
Yeah.
they gave you an article usually about where you were heading or where you might want to head on your
Right.
next flight. So you learned about the Maldives or you learned about
Sure.
something else. And Turks and Caicos, you learned all these places. That's where I learned all these places. Like, in-flight magazine, they take you on a thing.
Oh, the height of
And
luxury.
and then when you got to the back of that, if you wanted to buy a dog leash that was retractable, they could sell
Oh,
you one of those.
I'm telling you, Sky Mall was one of the greatest moments in human history
That's
because
what
at
yeah.
30,000 feet, there's nothing better than like, wait a second, it's a dog bowl and a roller skate?
Yeah, that's pretty much everything. It was literally like being at FAO Schwartz in the
Yes.
sky. And there was one other piece of entertainment in the sky back then. And by the way,
What?
they're going, oh, these guys just look at the screen and they watched a little plane fly across the sky. If you would have told me that you can have a screen in the seat back and watch that would have been the most amazing thing, because here's the other thing, and you're going to think I'm being sexist right now.
Uh-huh.
If I wasn't racist enough at the beginning of this show, here we go. The stewardesses, and I
Yeah.
do mean stewardesses because they weren't flight attendants and there were no dudes. It had to be women. And I don't know if you know this, Gina, they would fire them if they started gaining weight. They would get
What?
rid of them. You could
What is this, the Hooters?
Google that shit. You had to look a certain way because part of the entertainment was you had to be a smoke show. So you know how girls are like, I'm a model, I'm an Instagram model. You know what they used to do before Instagram models? They used to be stewardesses. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you know this. Let me see here. Okay. This is a real ad. This from National Airlines. This is a real ad from the early 1970s that ran on television. You ready? You want to hear this, Gina? Listen.
What?
I couldn't make that up. There were the Fly Me girls, and there were commercials. There were Fly Me commercials. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I ended up knowing one of those girls. Her name was Rebecca. And
Biblically knew her probably.
maybe. And she was a Fly Me girl.
Wow.
Yeah. That was before supermodels. If you were a Fly Me girl.
So I guess there were two things to aspire to: a Playboy playmate and a Fly Me girl.
And sometimes
One's
they
on
were
the
one and
ground
the
and
same.
one's in the air.
They were one and the same. Sometimes, like an exec from Playboy would see these girls were smoke shows and flying around. The entertainment was looking at this, what they call stewardesses, which you cannot say anymore. That's an old word. Looking at them walking up and down the aisle, just sashaying up and down. And I could be wrong about this, but you could probably look it up.
What?
There was an airline, it was like Cher at the Oscars. They would do outfit changes in the air.
Stop it.
Gina, I can't be making that up. I cannot be making that. How would I know that? There was one airline, it might have been Delta. It might have been, if you were on TWA was these transcontinental flights.
TNA.
If you were on Trans World Continental or whatever that thing, you were of the hottest women on the planet.
On TWA?
Yeah, the transatlantic women were even hotter than the domestics. Like you had to be a smoke show to be on those flights.
Okay, so a quick Google search doesn't tell me whether they did a freaking costume change in the air, but it's showing it. If you say it, I believe you because you come up with some really random stuff. But I'm seeing some of these old outfits, and my God, were they late for a shift on like in a go-go cage?
That was the thing. They wore either hot pants or really short. I'm not going to say skirts. They were short dresses. So it was like a pencil dress that stopped short. If they bent over, you were getting the full view, the whole thing. And the whole thing was about them. You know how Playboy had the Playboy clubs and girls had to know how to do the Playboy dip?
Yes, the dip.
Yeah, there was something called the Playboy dip. These airlines trained these women to do, so it was literally like, just seduction in the air. And if that's not bad enough, everybody was smoking not just cigarettes, but pipes and cigars. Everyone. Every seat had an ashtray.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
we like to play with them as kids. You flip them up and down.
Yeah. Can you imagine? You've been in a room with a guy smoking a cigar, right? And like, I can't breathe and all that. Okay. People were smoking, like chain smoking cigars, chain smoking pipes, which is another thing that puts off a lot, and cigarettes. The whole plane. And then at some point, late 80s, they came in with smoking sections.
The smoking section of the tube, because the air just stops right in the middle.
Yeah, they just, and by the way, the smoking section on some planes was just one half of the plane. You cross the aisle. It was the most archaic thing in the world. Now guys think, I'm being stoic. I'm looking at a little graphic of a plane going, fuck you. Come on. Are you kidding me? You're that much of a pussy? You think, oh man, Gina, I read a thing. It's like some guys like 7 hours. That's my PR. PR means personal record.
Oh, okay.
I got a PR. I went on a 7-hour flight, bro, and I didn't do anything. Guess what? Everybody PR'd every flight. He was like, I was looking at Rebecca bend over.
Oh, God.
Like that was our entertainment. It's like, am I going to see all the way up Rebecca's cooch, or are we going to stop? What are we looking at here? Look, I hate to sound like a dirty old man, but that was what we had.
Couple that with a real meal and actual silverware, and you didn't need any entertainment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, real. The only time you get real, and this is, it's like they bring you silver that is plastic, but it's got like a chrome coat on it.
Yes.
Unless you're on like British Airways and they give you actual silverware. It's like, okay, what's the difference? What? They don't have, you're not going to have people try to take the plane over with on British Airways. Yeah. Come on.
Oh, God. Yeah. You know what? You really have a way of putting things in perspective.
But we've become such, look, I've been yelling pussification of a nation for a long time.
Soft and succulent.
We think going 7 hours on a flight is somehow hitting some kind of PR if you don't look at any kind of social media, you're not looking at your phone, you're not looking at the monitor in the airplane. We now think that this is some kind of stoicism. When I first started flying, none of this existed. Every flight we did was like that. Guess what? If you think that's some kind of PR, you're a pussy. All right, stay motivated. Hey, that's what we're going to do right there, Gina.
I was doing my best to be quiet. I don't know. You might hear me breathing.
How's that stoic? I'm being stoic. I went 5 hours and sat on the plane. Tell that to the fucking Donna party. People had to eat each other. People used to get in wagon trains, go across this country. Get stuck in a snowstorm up on Donner Pass. They named the pass after him.
Yeah.
You ever been up on Donner Pass? It's right outside of, if you leave, what's that beautiful place? Hell, there's a song, Johnny Cash song about it. Prison.
Folsom?
Folsom. Folsom is one of the most beautiful places in the world. The fact that it's hooked to a prison somehow, you go right up from Folsom, you're on Donner Pass.
Really?
Yeah, that's where it is. It's right over there. They were stuck right there. Those people were stuck. And I'm telling you, I used to go cross-country skiing up there. They get a ton of snow.
You see how it happened.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they ain't no getting out. When you think about, I just got in my truck and I drove right out of here, and these people, but they didn't have snow machines and asphalt roads and everything. These people were in wagon trains and the whole thing. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's amazing what we used to do. And now people are, I was on a flight and I went 5 hours.
And I sat there.
What else did you do? Well, you want to really read a shampoo bottle while you're taking a shit. Then we'll talk. You want to talk about stoicism?
I don't think we're going to do better than that today.
Yeah, you have it, Gina. Folks, Gina Grad.
Dying.
People think they're doing something. I went on a flight and I didn't look at anything and I didn't even have water. Wow. You went 5 hours without water? We
Are
have
you
football practices longer than that. Without water in southern Louisiana, it was 200 degrees, 300% humidity. I don't want to hear about your bullshit.
Yeah, did the medevac meet you at the tarmac to carry you out?
Yeah, how did you make it out? Did you have to get in one of those wheelchairs that I see now? Everyone getting in at the
Oh,
damn tarmac?
everybody.
Everybody in the wheelchairs. Get out of the wheelchairs and start walking. If you don't have ALS, you get off that plane, you walk.
Thank you. Well, and they always, from anecdotally, they're always good from their chair down the tarmac to the wheelchair.
Yeah, somehow they get there and then they get in the wheelchair because I can't walk. You know what? Follow NSNG. But before you do that, go check out Grain-Free Comfort Food. Go check out My Extra Parent. What's it called?
My Extra Family. Hey, yours is better. My Extra Family on Instagram and My Extra Mom, the book, available on Amazon. Go ahead and click through VinnieTortorich.com. Click on the banner, it'll take you right to Amazon, and you get a copy of My Extra Mom, and you'll love it. And of course, I never promote this, but my regular old Instagram is just my name, Gina Grad.
Go do all that.
Yeah.
You know what to do with me. Right now, just go to VinnieTortorich.com/VIP. Don't miss out. When we close it, I probably won't open it up again for several months. It's been a while since I opened it up, but there's a lot of people in the waiting room on that. You can be one of them. So go do that. Amazon, before you go there, go to VinnieTortorich.com. Oh, by the way, I also put links in there of things, fitness equipment you might want. We're doing all kinds of stuff in that VIP group. And there's talk. I've been talking to one Miss Leona, who's also my graphic designer there. She's the one that designed this hat.
Love it.
We're talking about doing a special VIP hat. Only members will be able to purchase that hat.
Ooh.
So it's going to be an exclusive VIP hat that Leona and I are working closely on coming up with a design. When I say closely, I'm telling Leona, come up with a design, and I'll say, yeah, that's good. And then we move on.
Come up with a design that pleases me.
Yeah. Please me.
Please me.
Do something to make me feel good. And then I'll say yes. And then we'll go do that. So, on behalf of Gina Grad, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.